Hello friends, and welcome once again to Trials of Imorah. This video will be a little bit different than what I've done in the past. I'm kind of trying out a new thing here. Previously, I had posted a yearly showcase video showing all the progress that I've made on my game so far during that time period. I'm trying out instead doing a smaller snippet of stuff I worked on recently and use that as a time to set short-term goals also. Because in case you haven't noticed, this project has been in development since 2017. First posted about it in 2018, so it's been a good almost 5 years now. Or wait, has it already been? Wait, math? Over 5 years. Yes, almost 5 years on the internet though. Yeah, so it's been a minute. So hopefully if I can start doing these somewhat more regularly, I'm thinking every 2 weeks at most would be the most realistic. Weekly isn't going to happen. Because behind the scenes here, I work a full-time job. This entire game project is done entirely in my free time. So it kind of has to be that way. There is time periods that I can't work on the project, and it is kind of just like as I feel like it, very impulsy. It's like, hey, like here's a cool idea, and then binge implement it real quick. Of course, there's a lot of other parts that aren't so fun that I have to sit down and force myself to do, including the stuff that I want to have done very soon because it's October and I want to get a Halloween update out for a spooky side quest that I'm working on right now. And hopefully by posting this and having a bit more accountability, I'll actually have it done. I won't go into too much detail about that. Just it's a side quest for level 4, which is the level that I've been working on for the past year. And yeah, it should be fun once it's complete. It's not very major. Should be able to do it in the time frame. I only need a couple more art assets, need to write some dialogue, and then do some actual implementation in the game. So, that kind of covers that topic. I have notes that I'm reading off of, I'm cheating. I also just wanted to cover some stuff that I've been working on recently, because level 4 is done in the sense that there is a direct route through a level with a boss, right? But a lot of the level isn't actually fleshed out around that, thus me wanting to focus on the side quest and such. I've also been going back and working a lot more on the previous levels, fleshing those out. I added a new area to level 3 called the Siren Depths, which is not necessary at all. You just can go there for some extra items and upgrades. Those type of things are very vital for my vision of the game, but I recognize that they are not necessary by design, so I held off on adding it when I was originally working on level 3, but finally I was just like, I had the idea for it, like the impulse motivation, so I built the whole thing. So I'll probably show a little bit of that now as I go through the list of everything. In level 4, there's a tavern and a bunch of NPCs to talk to flesh that area out as being an actual city. The last big hub of people, of NPCs, before the rest of the game is pretty barren. Because it's supposed to be trials for these mortals to gain immortality at the end of it. It doesn't make sense for there to be like tons of people in civilization for the whole thing. And I've heard from some playtesters that just at the 4th level it's kind of pushing it, like how'd all these people get down here? There's lore kind of explaining it, but yeah, the feeling of isolation later on is really important for my vision for the game. Kind of like Metroidy is the idea that I'm going for, or inspiration behind that, I guess. But for now, we're still in the city, so there should be a lot of people. I'll actually run over there real quick. This isn't just a static screen. I have the actual game open right now. So I will run over there real quick And actually, I'll teleport there. I'll do you one better. So here's the tavern. Most of these people can be talked to. Admittedly, not all of them. He doesn't talk yet. There's 2 different vendors also that you can talk to. Some of the other new items that I've implemented are alcoholic drinks that you can buy. It only makes sense in a tavern, and it only makes sense that you can actually get intoxicated now. Best feature in the video game. I've also recently added food items, which by design are a little bit useless because they're not nearly as good as potions, but it's just kind of important to have that extra world building, you know? Because like food should exist in the world, so it should exist as an item. And here I'll show off getting drunk real quick. There's a cooldown time. You can't just chug them that quickly, unfortunately. There we go, and there's a screen distortion effect, as you can see. So that was a fun thing to add. There was another area connecting level 1 to level 2 that I've recently gone back and expanded. The area still isn't done because it's supposed to connect to level 3 as well. That whole backtracking area has also been something I put off for a long time because it's not part of the main route. But I finally went back to do it. There's an item upgrade that you can find there. It's actually this flower projectile, which doesn't work in here because there's no grass on the ground. But when there is grass on the ground, it makes the grass explode into thorns, and that'll deal damage to enemies. Other new things added recently. There's a crafting system now. You can barter with vendors that you see in person, but if you open your crafting kit, then you can directly just craft items. It still has a... I need to fix that. It still has a gold price, but you can't actually buy it. You can only craft it in your crafting case. I'm gonna fast travel again real quick just to get rid of the screen distortion effect. I'm realizing that's making it hard to see a little bit. Let's see, there we go. Yeah, and these are... we can't actually craft those because we don't have the materials. But in theory, we can craft them because we have the crafting recipe in our inventory, which was another system I had to implement to go alongside that. So this list of craftable items is dynamic. It won't... when you first get it, it doesn't have all of these explosives. You have to find that later on. And that's going back into the new future levels, which won't have civilization, so you won't be able to buy items, and unless you fast travel back, obviously. But you know that consumes resources. It costs gold to teleport. So do you want to do that, or do you just want to craft it on your own? Giving you options to deal with the trials later on. The end of level 4 really is kind of like the halfway point in the game, because there's 10 levels, so it should be level 5. But the start of level 5 is it's very different from level 4. I don't want to spoil it exactly what I'm thinking. Well, should I care about spoilers? I don't know. Just basically know that it's a changing point. Here, I had this graphic ready to show how things are going with the tutorial levels 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is almost complete. Need to fill in the second half part there. And then we got all the rest of it, which, looking at this graph, is probably very scary for the time scale of completion of this project. The next couple levels are going to be much, much smaller. Notice that the first 4 levels have distinct halves to them, right? The next 2 levels are not going to have that. They're going to be one area each. So the next 2 levels should not take a year each. They're not going to have side quests, except maybe one small one, because there's not as many NPCs, because it's the abandoned depths of the caves and that are monster infested, that are really like killing challengers that go down there. So the main hurdle will be making art assets to make it visually distinct, and developing the new enemies, both art and AI-wise. That being said, a lot of things are going to probably start to be recycled at this point. Not overwhelmingly so. I'm going to have unique art assets on every level, but a lot of generic stuff is already complete, and I plan on using it. So stone brick textures, just plain rock textures, stalagmites and stalactites, gemstones, crates, all sorts of stuff that honestly I've already been recycling in level 4 and level 3 and level 2. Ever since level 1 was done, I've been trying to recycle stuff. But at this point, I have a lot of stuff at my disposal. So in theory, the rest of it will not take as long. Of course, it'll take as long as it does if I don't actually work on the project, which is again why I am doing this smaller format video. Not even smaller format, because I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but the editing is going to be much less, because I'm just thinking I'm just going to show what I'm working on and then get it out there, get something out, because I don't want to be stagnant, because a lot of stuff, I've had ideas for stuff to post about the game, and I've just like frozen up about it. It's just got to get it out there, you know? Oh, there's an enemy attacking me now. So, I'm losing my train of thought. That's the plan with level 5 and everything moving forward. What else has been worked on recently? I have a list scrolling next to me. I added the tutorial NPC to the start of level 4. An important thing that I almost forgot about. What else? Oh, recently I also added the map system. Well, added is a strong word. I started implementing the map system because there is not a map on every level yet, and maps can't actually be obtained per se. You just have them if the map is available for that level. That will change in the future once I have fully decided on how to implement it. I'm thinking probably it will be a pickup near the boss, so you won't have the map when you play through the level the first time, but when you backtrack to do extra things, then you'll have it available. Because I kind of want the player to get lost initially a little bit. Like, not too lost. It shouldn't be too bad because it's a 2D platform, you know, you got two directional choices for the most part. And so yeah, if you just walk in one direction, you'll find your way one way or another, hopefully. I have faith in you players, though. You guys can figure it out. I don't want to hold your hand by just giving you a map immediately. That was fun to implement, though. That was very cool to get new perspectives on the level. Here I have which other one is implemented? I believe, yeah, Ento Village has its map implemented as well. It was definitely a timing thing with the maps, though, because obviously it was never going to be an early thing to add because the levels, like, I didn't know what they were going to look like, so I'm not going to make a texture for it that I'm going to have to change later. At this point, the first couple levels are pretty set in stone. I might have to update I almost certainly will have to update them with minor tweaks. But, you know, not significantly. Like, the resolution of this image isn't going to change. Other than that, I've been adding more upgrades. These don't necessarily matter because they're not directly obtainable in gameplay. You can only obtain it by getting the cheat inventory filled out. Yeah, there's a couple other items. And cool upgrade here. I'll show one of them that I'm particularly proud of was the arc rune, which makes your melee weapon do an arc beam slash like that when you're at full stamina. And it also gains the effects of the elemental rune that you have associated with that. So I just set it to fire. So if I use it again, it'll light stuff on fire that gets hit with the beam. Crazy, crazy. And of course that works with the poison, electricity, and ice as well. Reading through the list, I did bug fixing because of course there's so many bugs. There's a treasure that you can find in the new area of level 3. I'll teleport there real quick to show it off a little bit. Just some of the area. I'll show you where the puzzle is to get the treasure, but not the actual solution. Here, I'll turn on the audio for a second. Oh, just in time to get blown up. Oh my gosh. Let's see. That was a bad dodge. Let's go that way. Oh, I also added new icons for buffs and debuffs. So here, let me poison myself again so you can see that. You got a tiny skull in the corner now. There we go, killed the Siren. Let's go get their treasure. Oh, it's behind a door. That makes sense. But yeah, there's much more to this area. It's pretty decently sized. Not ridiculously though, because again, it is a side area that you could see from the way that I went to it. It was in a cave at the bottom of the level. It's a bit out of the way. Moving on. The final recent addition was the drop item that the new enemies are going to drop, which is pure black Imorium, which is basically just an amalgamation of all the other ones. It has every elemental type, and it can break through magical shields. So that's about all the stuff that I've worked on recently. As you can see, it's not nothing, mostly nothing with level 5 yet. Level 5 is still very much in the planning stage. I have some sketches on level design and plans for the sprites and art assets and backgrounds and general layout of everything. I have the code set up for the new main mechanic of that level, which will be pressure plates and or actually I can show the other part of it, which will be pressure plates and a shadow clone ability. So you'll be able to activate the pressure plates with your shadow clone. Oh, what am I? It's on the hotbar already. I can't find it. There we go. There's no effects for it right now, so it's a little underwhelming. But when you cast it, you leave your shadow right here, and then while the player can walk through it and really not interact with it directly, although you can shoot it and break it with your axe. Enemies are blocked by it. It's a solid wall for them. So it'll have, oh, and it hurts them on contact if they walk into it. So yeah, it'll have lots of different applications. I really like doing that with items, is giving players lots of different options of how to use it. Which is part of, again, why the development of this project has taken so long, because I really run with every cool idea that I think of. And at this point in development, it's less, I'm not as bad, because I'm not going out of my way to develop entirely new things. It's more of, you know, what can I do within the systems that are already present. Like, for example, when I added the drunk feature, which does the screen corruption, and you might have also noticed it makes the player stagger every couple seconds. That fit within the existing system of buffs and debuffs, so that's why I thought it was fine to include it. It wasn't a vital part of the game that took too much development time away from bosses and enemies and level design and all of that. So, level 5 is being planned. Not really that much work on it. Although that being said, I'm still on schedule because level 4 was supposed to be done by this year and I was done by this summer. So we're on track in that regard. I really don't want level 5 to not be done until the end of next year though. Or wait, no, I didn't phrase that right. I want it to take a shorter amount of time than a whole year for level 5. I want it to be done sooner than next winter. I think a realistic time frame could potentially be to have level 5 complete sometime next summer of 2023, and then be a good ways along on level 6 before the end of the year. I think that's realistic because, again, the upcoming levels are scaled back by quite a bit. There's going to be less NPCs, maybe one or two just cool character designs that you can talk to, fellow challengers that haven't died yet, maybe a couple corpses that have died that you can, just wonder what their story was. Maybe be foreshadowing for enemies ahead of you, because you can see how they died. Like, ooh, maybe I should look out for a fire monster if this corpse was burnt to a crisp. That type of thing, But not full side quests and dialogue trees and all of that stuff, which has caused the first couple levels to really bloat and take so much time. Because again, I've been working on this since 2017. At one point, I actually thought I was going to have this project done by the end of college. Because a bit more backstory is I started this project I started this version of the project freshman year of college. The original version was actually worked on in high school, but I scrapped it because the code was such a mess to work with. It was easier just to start it over, to design everything better. But yeah, the original plan was to have this done in 4 years. But the first level bloated a lot, mostly because of... Well, I mean, the main reason is because it's only me working on it. The actual, game itself could be done much quicker. But, things take time to work on. But yeah, the project will be done at some point. Hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, I'm starting to run out of steam. I think that's about everything that I want to talk about. If you have any feedback on anything that I showed in this video or anything that I talked about, feel free to leave a comment or check out the Discord and join. I post very regularly. I don't want to say an exact time frame. It's usually in bursts. Like every couple weeks I'll launch out 4 or 5 new things, like, hey guys, check this out. And check out my Twitter and the itch.io page. Yeah, please let me know how this format works. Is this good to go along with? Maybe in the future, instead of me just sitting here, I'll just have gameplay going in the background. I thought I'd run around more, but I'm mostly just standing while I'm talking. Oh, I'm getting my butt. I just died. That's unfortunate. That seems like a good embarrassing stopping point. Let me just go ahead and end this before my character drowns down there. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, thank you for your support. I'm butchering the ending. I'll see you all very soon. Hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.